Welcome back, everyone. Next up, we have FingerMotion Inc. It trades on the NASDAQ under the symbol FNGR and is an evolving technology company with a core competency in mobile payment and recharge platform solutions in China. Please welcome its CEO, Martin Shen. Welcome, Martin. How are you doing today?
Good, Anna. Thanks so much for having me back.
All right. We're so excited to have you. So when you're ready, the floor is yours.
Okay, thanks so much. And like I mentioned, it's so nice for us to be back at the Emerging Growth Conference again. So what we have here is a very simple agenda. For some of you that have known our company or seen this presentation before, we'll kind of go through what it is that we do here at FingerMotion. And I'll give a few milestones, kind of our history, our humble beginnings to where we are now. And then we'll look at a few of the future plans that we have over the next 6 to 12 months. But I typically like to start off our presentation with a little video. It kind of gives you the 30,000 foot view of our company, kind of things that we do. And after the video is done, we'll kind of go through a bit more of the core businesses. So go ahead and run that video.
We are an evolving technology company with core competencies in providing mobile payment and recharge platform solutions. Our vision is to rapidly grow our user base and have this growth develop into an ecosystem of users with high engagement rates, utilizing its innovative applications. We offer telecommunications services. Our Pigeonhole's integrated system can seamlessly manage mobile recharge, data, subscription plans, and more. We accurately and efficiently manage online products and services of major telcos through our system, may it be B2B or B2C. Our SMS integrated platform offers SMS and MMS payment solutions, bridging clients to their user-based partnerships with major telcos. Our Sapientus platform utilizes data to power solutions for multiple industries not limited to finances and insurance by leveraging all the data that is collected into a predictive model that is able to isolate and extract consumer behavior and habits for future monetization. FingerMotion continues to aggressively invest in research and development. Our primary area of focus is the development of must-have application for consumers and businesses. Join us today.
So hopefully from that video, you can see that we're well entrenched in the mobile phone arena, and particularly in the mobile data space. We like to let people know that we are a big data company. We are a technology company, and this is what we do. And the idea behind it all is really to fulfill our vision, to improve people's lifestyle through technology and innovation, innovating new products and enhancing the current products that are in the market today. And hopefully what we can do is improve your lifestyle in general. So what are our core businesses? We have, I would say, 4 core businesses right now, and we're excited about a 5th one that's going to be coming online soon. I'll tell you a bit more about that later on in the presentation. But really, we have 4 core businesses. We have the top-up business. We have the SMS and MMS business. We have rich communication services, or RCS. And then we have our big data arm, our big data analytics arm called Sapientus. And that's the one we're probably most excited about. And that's going to be coming at the end of the presentation. But let's go through our core business first. First, our top-up business. So what is top up? Well, you use your phone in China as a Chinese phone consumer. You use up the minutes. You use your phone, use up the data. And then what you have to do is obviously you have to top up your account. You actually, in essence, have to pay your phone bill to keep your account active. And the way you would actually do this is you would go onto an e-commerce website, something like a JD.com or Alibaba's Tmall, and pay your phone bill. Now, I equated that to maybe going on to Amazon to pay your Verizon bill. Now, why would you do that? Well, in this instance, these Chinese e-commerce giants will actually give you a rebate or a coupon for the next time you purchase something on their website. It's really out of their marketing budget to attract more users to their website. What FingerMotion does is we connect that, that consumer and that e-commerce website to the telcos. So our telcos are China Mobile and China Unicom. And we have license to be that payment processor for those telcos. And you can imagine the size of those two companies themselves. You're probably looking at about 1.5 and 1.6 billion user accounts that we're going to be handling the transaction and handling the payment processing for the top up of their accounts. So that's a large, large number. And the reason we're successful is because our platform, our pigeonholes integration system, works very well with very few failures and very few drop-offs. And the telcos, of course, are happy because they're getting paid. So because of the success of the top-up business and our platform, the telcos introduced another business to us, which is SMS or MMS. So what is SMS really? SMS is just text messaging. And it's still quite a prevalent way within China to market your wares. So what they like to do is they'll get text messaging messages to their authorized customer lists. So what the telcos have is they have discounted text messaging bundles, discounted SMS bundles. Let's say it's 100,000 or 200,000 messages. They pass those messages to us, and we pass them on to our corporate partners. People like different airlines, China Eastern Airlines is one, hotel chains, car dealerships. But on the back end, we also provide a review process. Because as you can imagine in China, you can't send out spam. You can only send your messages to authorized customer lists, and they can't be an anti-government or any kind of propaganda type messages. So we provide that review process in the back end. So our corporate partners not only get the benefit of having that discount, but they also get that efficient, quick review process to make sure that their messages get out quickly and efficiently. So these two businesses for us, the top up and the SMS, currently make up the bulk of our revenue. And this last fiscal year, we were just shy of $23 million in revenue from those two businesses. So because of the success of those two, we've branched into a new business called RCS, or Rich Communication Services. Now, what is RCS? RCS we've actually seen before, certainly in North America, in the form of MMS, but there wasn't enough bandwidth to control it, to be able to use the full value or full power of MMS. So what happens in China is because people know that China is probably one of the world leaders in building out that 5G infrastructure. And you need that 5G infrastructure to handle these complex transactions. And we build out a platform that allows our corporate partners, again, to market their wares via RCS. So one of the examples we like to use is, let's say a company like Nike has a shoe sale. And what typically would happen before was you would get a text message, an SMS from Nike saying, oh, did you want to buy this shoe? And if you did, you would typically hop off onto the Nike app and conduct your transaction there. Or you hop off onto the Nike website and conduct your transaction there. Now, what the RCS platform allows you to do is you would receive that SMS. You might even receive a large multimedia type advertising campaign, a big marketing blitz. And if you wanted to buy that shoe or conduct that transaction, you could press a button right on that platform and you can conduct that transaction right then and there without having to jump off onto an app, without having to jump off onto a website. Now, this is obviously very important for the telcos because their whole goal is to keep as many users on their system for as long as possible. So because of our reliability of our top-up, because of the efficiency of the SMS and our branching on the RCS, the telcos ultimately gave us license to go into their system and study their user data. And as I mentioned off the top, we're looking at probably somewhere in the neighborhood of potentially 1.5 billion user accounts. Now, there's a couple things that we like to stress whenever we say we have access to these accounts. The first is that we don't own the data. We have license to go in and study the data, but the ownership of that data and user data information is retained by the telcos. And secondly, the information that we do have access to has already been scrubbed for anonymity. So there isn't any personal information there. But what our data scientists have done is set up maybe somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,000 to 2,000 different data points, demographic data points that they could study. And that is what kind of led to the buildup of our big data analytic arm, Sapientus. So for example, one of the things that we like to talk about in a good example for this is I'm a demographic 50-year-old man. And let's say I drive to and from work Monday to Friday, 5 miles a day, safe residential roads, as opposed to the same demographic 50-year-old man, but he drives 100 miles a day on highways, on the back alleys at all hours of the day. Now, do you think that that kind of dichotomy of information would be valuable to somebody? We think so. But when we started this endeavor, one of the big questions we always asked ourselves is if having access to all this information isn't worth anything if you don't know what to do with it. So we stepped back and we looked at where we could go with procuring this kind of demographic data. And we looked at things like healthcare and financial services. And ultimately, we landed on insurtech and the insurance industry. Now, I go back to my example and say, okay, well, do you think some auto division of some insurance company would like to know that demographic information and the differences between two 50-year-old drivers? We think so, because ultimately insurance companies just want, low cost or no claim portfolios. So before we get too far into it, let's go into some of the milestones really quickly. Again, kind of how we got here to where we are today and where we started from. So as you saw off the top, our slide said we were started in around 2016, but it really wasn't until about 2018 that we got in earnest with the telcos. But as you can see from this slide, we very quickly grew, and we already had about $70 million in gross transactional value by mid-2019, and that's a singular month. Now remember, that's not revenue, that's just the amount of dollars that are flowing through our system. And similarly, we had about 150 million text messages going through our system that month. So let's start off in 2018. And that's when we tendered and won the license to be the payment processor for China Unicom. But very quickly, you can see, we also became their big data partner. And that's very important because they saw the value proposition of what we could do, what we were able to do in terms of data analytics and understanding the information that we could procure from their user accounts. Now, one of the things I talked about off the top was that, yes, we are very close with China Mobile and China Unicom, but there's also the e-commerce side as well. And so we branched into that as well in 2018 by setting up an online store on Pinduoduo, which allows PDD's users to come on and pay their phone bills through their website, which is very important. Again, just opening up the possibility of new users to their website. In 2019, we went out and bid and won again the license for China Mobile and China Unicom. And that's where I'm saying now we're covering the vast number of mobile user accounts in China, somewhere again in the neighborhood of 1.5 billion accounts. But similar to China Unicom, we also became China Mobile's data partner very quickly as well. Again, they're understanding the value of the information that we could provide. More importantly, we also started in 2019 our SMS and MMS business. That again is the SMS bundles, the discounted bundles that we're able to sell to our corporate partners. In 2020, we got Alibaba's Tmall on board, building again that e-commerce connection that we have. And that allows, again, more eyeballs to come on, use that portal. And then in middle 2020, we launched Sapientus. At this point, we're gathering enough data to understand that our big data analytics arm really should be its company of its own. And that's why we decided to start and launch Sapientus. Many of you know we are a public company, but we started off in the OTCs, the OTC pinks, kind of like the Wild West of trading. But we moved all the way up. And in 2020, middle of 2020, we actually hit the top tier of OTC, the OTCQX. Now, part of the insurance information and InsurTech endeavor was really validated by our agreement with Pacific Life Re, one of the largest reinsurance companies in the world. Now they're coming on board saying, okay, we understand the information that you have. We think it's of value, so let's start a partnership up. And that happened at the end of 2020. We continued growing our insurance relationships in 2021 with Happy Life Insurance, and then later Munich Re comes on board. Again, one of the largest reinsurance companies in the world, and again, seeing the value of the information that we could procure. And finally, at the end of 2021, we were able to uplist the NASDAQ. This is a big step for us, obviously. I was very proud of our team to be able to do it. We didn't have anyone sponsoring us, backing us. It really was a team effort to get us uplisted to the NASDAQ. And what that really provides is for investors is that increased regulatory requirements, understanding that we have regular reporting, certainly more compliance, certainly more governance, and just allows you to have more reliability on the information that we're providing publicly. So what are our strategic plans? So obviously, with our uplisting to NASDAQ, more eyeballs on the company, more liquidity, and likely more avenues for funding for us. And so where will we go with that funding? Well, a lot of it will continue to go to fund Top Up and the SMS because they are capital-intensive endeavors. You need some funding in a balance to make sure those e-commerce transactions continue on the Top Up. Similarly with SMS, you need to buy those discounted bundles first before we get reimbursed by our corporate partners later on. But a few other things that we're very excited about that the funding would go to would be, in the short term, our device protection plan, which I think will ultimately build into a new vertical for us in our company. And I'll talk about that in a second. Some of our funding would also go out to building out our RCS platform, the Rich Communication Services platform that I mentioned earlier. And ultimately, being a big data company, a big data tech company, we would want to fund our Sapientus and build out the R&D for our big data arm. So in the short term, the mobile protection plan, this is brand new for us. We are currently in the soft launch of that business right now. And what exactly is it? It's Apple Care in essence. That kind of device protection doesn't exist again in any cohesive format right now in China. And so we are introducing it with the help of telcos and a very large US insurance company as its underwriter. This insurance company has been trying to get into the Chinese market for a number of years, and we're able to facilitate that entry with the connections with China Mobile and China Unicom. Like I said, this project is still very much in its infancy in the marketplace, but what we've been able to do is embed the cost of these premiums into the payment plans themselves. So as new customers come on and move from 3G and 4G phones to 5G, as they procure and get their new phones, the protection plan will be built into their payment plan. And so it almost acts a bit like revenue in perpetuity for us, simply as a connector between the insurance companies and the telcos. We have, like I mentioned, soft launched this, and the numbers that you see there are really not ours. These are the telcos numbers that are giving us about what kind of uptake they think will come on board when it actually fully launches, hopefully later on this year. In the midterm, we will continue to build out the RCS. And the RCS platform, just to give you a bit more detail, is really just like a white label platform. But because of the connectivity that we have with the telcos, it's obviously going to function very well when transactions are being conducted. And so what we can do is we can provide this platform to our corporate partners. They can come in and bring in their marketing team or their graphic design team, make it up to whatever they want, and then push this out to their customers. And then allows them access to conduct transactions very quickly on the phone system. So we hope to build that out again later on this year or early next year. And finally, of course, Sapientus. Being a big data company, we think that this will be ultimately one of the largest verticals in our company. And we'll continue to grow that. We recently had an announcement that we're going to the second phase with Pacific Life Re, and hopefully we can move in the same manner with Munich Re as well. We think that this is going to be very exciting. Again, it's just going to validate the information that we provide the insurance companies with the data that we are procuring. And what we've done really is we set up these research labs with all these insurance companies. So we have our actuaries and our data scientists on one side talking with the actuaries from the reinsurance companies. And the idea is we have this kind of information. You might want this information. Let's work together and see what works best for you guys. And so far, it's worked out very well. It's clearly a very, very large market, and we certainly want to take advantage of it when we can. So really quick, some financial highlights for you. Our revenue, like I mentioned, was just shy of $23 million for this fiscal year. We know we had some lockdowns for the current upcoming fiscal year, which may have affected some of our results, but we don't imagine that it'll be too bad when we actually get the final results later on this year. And then similarly for gross profit, it's growing at a very consistent rate for us. And with the onset of the device protection plan, which has very few costs for us, we think that that gross profit number should jump significantly, hopefully in the next year or so. So that's it. Hopefully that gives you a good idea of what we do as a company. I thank you very much for your time, and I understand there might be a few questions. So maybe I'll ask Anne to come back on and let me answer some of these questions for you.
Thank you, Martin. Great presentation, great technology, and what a really cool journey you guys have been on, and congratulations on all this success.
Thank you.
So some questions. So many of the YouTubers, when they do their videos on FingerMotion, they stick to the technical analysis and say there are no fundamentals to the company. So how do you respond to that?
Yeah, I've heard some of these comments, and one of the comments that I always have back is perhaps they're not spending enough time looking at our quarterly or annual filings. Maybe they're not seeing our financial statements. Like I mentioned, we do build our company on a number of different verticals. The top up and the SMS obviously are significant to generate, like I said, just shy of $23 million in revenue. But we are a data and technology company, and so we think that the device protection is obviously going to add another significant arm for us in terms of growth on the income statement. But we think Sapientus and our big data analytics arm will probably be the most exciting stuff to come. And that will be a significant fundamental portion of our company. So we do have some fundamentals there, and we'll hopefully watch them grow in the next couple of years or so.
All right. Thank you for that. Also, can you summarize the debt financing with Lind? And do you need any additional capital?
Yeah. So the Lind financing came at a very opportune time for us. It's a $4 million financing. We were probably on the cusp of really growing both the top-up side and introducing the device protection side. And so we needed some funding. And so that what they were able to provide for us really came out of necessity at the timing. We think that, it really helped our company, but we probably could get better terms if we weren't in such a position to require that funding at that time. And now that we've seen the growth that's going to be coming with this funding, we think we can probably be more selective in our financing that we procure in the future. And it might be debt financing, it might be equity, or it might be a mixture of both.
That makes sense. Can you talk a little bit why the stock price has gone up so much over the past couple of weeks?
That is a very good question. And I would think legal counsel has probably suggested that I do not answer any questions on stock price and volume. But the one thing I will say is that I think in the market for our particular stock, there has been some significant pressure. Perhaps it's a short pressure that has been hitting us for a couple months, and perhaps these shorts are trying to cover now, and that's maybe what be causing some of the significant stock price rise that we've seen, let's say, in the last couple of weeks. I would like to think that the stock price is rising because of our significant announcement with our partnership with Pac Life that we recently put out. Also, the introduction of device protection, which are, these are two significant events for our company, and hopefully will show some, significant growth over the next 6 months, 12 months. And so maybe that's hopefully the reason why we've had so much interest in our stock. So,
well, congratulations on that. Okay, let's expand a little bit on your statement about 1.5 billion users. So, for example, Alibaba or JD.com, have a bigger user base? What's going on there?
Yeah, so the 1.5 billion is really what, let's say, China Mobile and China Unicom have as their user base in terms of, their account users. But they're always trying to grow. And I think part of our partnerships with Alibaba's Tmall and JD.com and Pinduoduo having their portals, having the sort of China mobile portals on their websites just really attracts their users to it. And so it gives them some exposure to say, oh, if I want to move from a smaller phone carrier to one of these big guys, I see it right then and there. So it helps really grow perhaps the mobile company's user base, user accounts. And we just sit in the back end and we just facilitate that transaction. So there is a lot of symbiosis there, a lot of working together to make sure that everyone can grow their own respective user accounts and customer bases.
Fantastic. So, Martin, let's talk about the future. What catalysts are on the horizon?
Well, like I mentioned, that device protection plan, we are probably close to ending that soft launch. It does take a little while to make sure that all the testing is correct and in place. And we understand that, to make sure that all the claims can be paid out right and all that. So we're close to getting that end. And then hopefully, if everything falls into place properly, towards the end of the year, we actually will have that full launch happening for device protection. We think that that's going to be a big catalyst for us. And similar to the InsurTech initiatives, like I mentioned, the second phase of Pacific Life is a big deal for us. And that really kind of goes to the core of our company. Being a data company, we really like where we can go with InsurTech. And hopefully that second step will grow. And then maybe Munich Re will take a second step as well. We look to bring on new reinsurance companies. And then part of our philosophy as a company, as a tech company, is really to grow maybe outside of insurance into things like financial services or healthcare, and outside of just the jurisdiction of China, perhaps. And we'll go maybe into Southeast Asia or even further west. So we do have a few very exciting things on the horizon, and we'll just take it step by step, and hopefully all goes well.
Yes, you do. Thank you so much for joining us again, and congratulations on all your success. And also thanks for joining us all the way from Singapore. So we appreciate you tuning in, and please come back in the near future with some more updates.
Absolutely. Thanks, Anna. Appreciate it.
All right. Our pleasure. Okay, everyone, stay with us. Thank you so much for watching.